Los Angeles had survived more than its share of secrets, betrayals, impossible returns, and family scandals, but nothing could prepare the Spencer family for the secret Wyatt Spencer was about to drag into the light. For weeks, Dylan had been walking through the halls of Forrester Creations carrying herself like someone who desperately wanted to belong while simultaneously fearing that one wrong question could destroy everything. Will had noticed her nervousness. Electra had become increasingly suspicious of her, and Katie had begun watching Dylan with the uncomfortable feeling that she had seen those eyes somewhere before. Bill, meanwhile, had reached the end of his patience. He had already warned Dylan that if she was hiding something that could hurt his son, he would uncover it himself. What none of them knew was that Wyatt had quietly been investigating Dylan's past, and what he discovered was far more explosive than anything Bill imagined. The morning began at Forrester Creations, with Will standing beside Electra in the design office. The tension between them was impossible to ignore. Their relationship had already been strained by Dylan's growing presence in Will's life, and Electra was tired of pretending that Dylan was simply an innocent young woman looking for friendship. Every time somebody asks her about her family, she changes the subject, Electra said. Every time Katie looks at her, Dylan looks like she wants to run. You can't seriously tell me that doesn't bother you. Will sighed. It bothers me, but that doesn't mean she's dangerous. No, Electra replied, but it means she's lying. Before Will could answer, the office doors opened and Dylan entered carrying a folder. The second she saw Electra, she stopped. Electra folded her arms. Perfect timing, Electra said. Dylan's expression hardened. I'm here to work. Then maybe you can answer one question first. Electra, Will warned.
No.
I'm done pretending. Electra stepped closer. Who are you, Dylan? For a moment, Dylan looked genuinely frightened. You know who I am. Do we? Dylan placed the folder on the desk. I'm not doing this. She turned toward the door, but Will caught up with her. Dylan, wait. She looked at him, and the anger in her face immediately weakened. Please, Will said quietly. If there is something you haven't told me, tell me now. Whatever it is, hearing it from you is better than finding out from someone else. Dylan stared at him as if she desperately wanted to confess. Her eyes filled with tears. I never wanted you involved in any of this, she whispered. Will frowned. Involved in what? Before Dylan could answer, Katie entered. Katie immediately noticed Dylan's tears. What happened? Ask her, Electra replied. Katie looked from Electra to Dylan, but something about Dylan's expression froze her. For weeks, Katie had been struggling with a memory she couldn't quite place. The way Dylan tilted her head when she was frightened, the shape of her eyes, even the way she pressed her lips together when she was trying not to cry. Dylan, Katie said carefully, have we met before? Dylan's face went pale.
No.
Katie took another step toward her. Are you sure? I said no. Katie studied her. Then, why do I feel like you're terrified that I'm going to remember you? Dylan grabbed her bag and hurried out. Will immediately started after her, but Electra grabbed his arm. Let her go. Will pulled away. She's obviously scared. Exactly. Electra snapped. And you still refuse to ask what she's scared of. Across town, Wyatt Spencer stepped out of his car carrying an envelope that he had guarded like it contained the combination to a vault. He had returned to Los Angeles expecting a family visit. Instead, within days, he had stumbled into Dylan's mystery. It began when Wyatt saw Dylan from across the room at Il Giardino. Something about her stopped him cold. It wasn't that Wyatt believed he knew Dylan personally. It was something subtler. Her face reminded him of someone from years ago, someone connected to Katie's past. Wyatt initially dismissed the feeling, but after hearing Bill complain that Dylan was getting too close to Will, curiosity took over. Wyatt began asking questions. Dylan's employment records appeared normal at first glance, but the deeper Wyatt looked, the stranger they became. There were gaps, addresses that couldn't be verified, a school record that appeared much later than it should have. Most suspicious of all was the complete absence of anything connecting Dylan to a childhood under that name. Wyatt had finally found one old photograph. That photograph changed everything. Now, standing outside Spencer Publications, Wyatt stared at the envelope in his hand. This is going to blow the family apart, he muttered. Inside Bill's office, Bill was already furious. I told her to stay away from Will, Bill said as he poured himself a drink. Apparently nobody listens until Dollar Bill starts making consequences. Katie rolled her eyes. Threatening Dylan isn't going to solve this. She's hiding something. On that, we agree. Bill looked surprised. Katie continued. There's something about her. I can't explain it. I keep looking at her and feeling like I should know her. The office doors opened. Wyatt walked in. Bill's expression immediately changed. Wyatt. Katie smiled. What are you doing here? Wyatt didn't smile back. I need both of you to sit down. Bill laughed. That sounds dramatic. It is. Wyatt placed the envelope on Bill's desk. Katie stared at it. What's that? Something I wish I hadn't found. Bill reached for it, but Wyatt stopped him. Not yet. Bill narrowed his eyes. You walk into my office, drop an envelope on my desk, and tell me I can't open it? I need Will here. Katie's anxiety intensified. This is about Dylan, isn't it? Wyatt looked at her. That was answer enough. Within an hour, Will, Electra, Katie, Bill, and Wyatt were gathered at Spencer Publications. Dylan was the only person missing. Will looked impatiently at his brother. You dragged me out of Forrester Creations. What's going on? Wyatt stood near Bill's desk. I've been looking into Dylan. Will's expression hardened. Why? Because Dad asked questions, Katie had questions, Electra had questions, and frankly, I had one too. Electra leaned forward. What question? Wyatt pulled out the old photograph. Why doesn't Dylan exist? Silence. Will frowned. What does that mean? I mean, I couldn't find a reliable record of Dylan under that identity before a certain point. Bill stood. I knew it. Will shook his head. That doesn't prove anything. No, Wyatt said. It doesn't, which is why I kept digging. He handed the photograph to Katie. The moment Katie saw it, the color drained from her face. Oh my God. Will looked at her. What? Katie covered her mouth. Bill moved beside her and looked at the picture. It showed a younger woman holding a little girl. Katie whispered the woman's name. I knew her. Wyatt nodded. You did. Katie's eyes filled with tears. She was my friend. Will took the picture. The little girl is Dylan? Wyatt stared at him. That's what I thought. Electra asked the question everyone was thinking. What do you mean, thought? Wyatt slowly reached for the envelope. Because I had DNA compared. Bill's expression changed. Will stepped forward. You did what? I needed the truth. You had no right. Maybe not, Wyatt replied. But what I found explains why Dylan has been terrified of this family. Katie's voice trembled. What did the test say? Wyatt hesitated. Before he could answer, the office doors flew open. Dylan stood there. She had clearly been crying. Don't. Everyone turned. Dylan stared directly at Wyatt. Whatever's inside that envelope, don't read it. Will moved toward her. Dylan. She backed away. No. Wyatt looked devastated. You already know, don't you? Dylan's silence confirmed it. Electra stared at her. You've known the whole time? Dylan began shaking. I didn't know everything. Bill stepped forward. Then start talking. Dad. Will warned. No. Enough games. Dylan wiped tears from her cheeks. My name is Dylan. Wyatt shook his head. That's not the entire truth. Dylan looked at him. You don't understand. Then help us understand. Dylan turned toward Katie. Katie was still holding the old photograph. My mother loved you, Dylan whispered. Katie's face crumpled. You are her daughter. Yes. Katie rushed toward Dylan, but Dylan stepped backward. There's more. Katie froze. Wyatt picked up the DNA results. There is. Will looked between them. What exactly did you test? Wyatt took a breath. The sample was compared against DNA already connected to the Spencer family. Bill stared at him. Why the Spencer family? Wyatt looked at Dylan. Because of something her mother left behind. Dylan closed her eyes. Will's voice rose. What did the DNA say? Wyatt opened the envelope. Nobody moved. The test confirms a close biological relationship. Bill's confidence suddenly disappeared. To whom? Wyatt looked first at Katie, then at Will, finally at Bill. The Spencer family. Electra gasped. Will looked stunned. That's impossible. Dylan started crying harder. Bill grabbed the report. What the hell does this mean? Wyatt pointed to the result. It means Dylan didn't come into Will's life by accident. Will stared at Dylan. You knew you were connected to us? I suspected. How? My mother left me letters. Katie whispered. Letters? Dylan nodded. She told me that if anything ever happened to her, there were things about my birth I needed to know. I didn't find the letters until years later. Bill's jaw tightened. What did they say? Dylan looked terrified. That my father wasn't the man who raised me. Everyone went silent. Bill stared at her. Will slowly turned toward his father. No. Bill shook his head. Don't look at me. Wyatt interrupted. That's not what the report says. Everyone turned back toward him. Wyatt pointed to another section. The initial result shows Dylan is related to the Spencer line, but she is not Bill's daughter. Bill exhaled. Will looked confused. Then how? Katie suddenly sat down. Her hands were trembling. Wyatt noticed. Katie. She looked at Dylan. Your mother once told me she had made a terrible mistake. Dylan nodded through tears. She wrote about it. Katie's eyes widened. With who? Dylan couldn't say the words. Wyatt answered. The expanded DNA comparison indicates Dylan's strongest match isn't Bill. He paused. It's Katie. Katie stopped breathing for what felt like several seconds. What? Will stared at his mother. Electra's mouth fell open. Bill looked at Wyatt as if he had lost his mind. Wyatt continued. The laboratory says the genetic relationship is consistent with Dylan being closely connected to Katie's side of the family, as well as having a secondary Spencer connection that needs further verification. Katie stood slowly. That doesn't make sense. Dylan reached into her bag. She pulled out an old sealed letter. It will when you read this. She handed it to Katie. Katie stared at the handwriting. I recognize this. Dylan nodded. My mother wrote it for you. Katie opened the letter with shaking hands. She read silently at first. Then tears filled her eyes. Oh my God. Bill stepped toward her. Katie. Katie looked at Dylan. According to the letter, years earlier Dylan's mother had been involved in a private family crisis that Katie never knew about. Medical records had been altered. A pregnancy had been hidden. Dylan's upbringing had been carefully separated from the Logan and Spencer families because her mother feared what would happen if powerful people discovered the truth. But the letter contained another name. Katie whispered it. Wyatt stared at her. That's the name I found in the archived records. Will looked completely lost. Would somebody tell me what is happening? Katie turned toward her son. The DNA doesn't mean Dylan is your sister. Will visibly relaxed, but only for a second. Wyatt continued. But she is family. Electra whispered. How close? Wyatt looked at the report. Close enough that everything Dylan told us about coming to Los Angeles by coincidence is impossible. Will faced Dylan. You came here looking for us. Dylan nodded. Yes. The betrayal in his eyes crushed her. You lied to me. I was afraid. You let me defend you. You let me fight with Electra over you. I never planned for that, but you knew there was a family connection. I knew there might be. Will stepped back. Dylan cried. Will, please. No. Tell me why you came. Dylan swallowed. To find Katie. Katie looked shocked. Me? My mother's final letter said you were the only person who could tell me what happened. Katie shook her head. But I didn't know. That's what I realized after meeting you. Dylan looked around the room. I came here expecting Katie to recognize my name. She didn't. Then I met Will, and everything became complicated. Electra scoffed. Complicated? Dylan turned toward her. I didn't plan to care about him. Will looked wounded. Stop. I'm telling you the truth. You should have done that from the beginning. Wyatt placed the report on the desk. There's still another problem. Bill glared at him. Of course there is. Wyatt pointed to the laboratory notes. The results aren't complete. There's another genetic marker the lab couldn't explain. Dylan is connected to Katie's family, but there's also a Spencer side match that shouldn't be there based on the family tree we know. Bill stared at the paper. Meaning? meaning either the records are wrong. Wyatt paused. Or somebody else in this family has been living with a false identity too. The room erupted. Bill demanded another test. Electra wanted to know whether Dylan had manipulated Will intentionally. Will demanded space from everyone. Katie remained fixated on the letter, reading the same lines again and again as memories from years earlier began resurfacing. Dylan turned to leave. Katie stopped her. Wait. Dylan looked back. Katie approached slowly. You came here looking for answers. You deserve them. Bill shook his head. Katie, we don't know what she's involved in. She's the daughter of someone I loved like family. And she lied to our son. Dylan flinched. Katie looked at Bill. So have we, at different times in our lives. Bill couldn't argue with that. Will walked toward Dylan. For a second, everyone expected him to comfort her. Instead, he said quietly, I need to know one thing. Anything. Were your feelings for me real? Dylan's eyes filled again. Yes. No DNA test. No letters. No family mystery. Just answer me. I fell for you before I understood what the connection meant. Electra looked away, hurt. Will's voice cracked. And when you learned, I tried to leave. Will remembered every moment Dylan had pulled away, every unexplained disappearance, every time she had nearly confessed something. Suddenly those moments looked different, but they didn't erase the lies. I can't do this right now. Will walked out. Dylan started after him, but Wyatt stopped her. Give him time. She stared at Wyatt angrily. You destroyed everything. Wyatt's face hardened. No. The person who created this secret did. Dylan shook her head. You think that envelope contains the truth? Wyatt frowned. What does that mean? Dylan wiped her tears. My mother wrote more than one letter. Katie stared at her. There's another one? Dylan nodded. And that one explains the Spencer DNA. Bill stepped forward. Where is it? Dylan hesitated. I hid it. Where? Forrester Creations. Electra immediately looked alarmed. Where at Forrester? In a locked drawer in the design office. Wyatt grabbed his keys. Then we're going. Later, the group returned to Forrester Creations. Will was nowhere to be found, but Electra, Katie, Bill, Wyatt, and Dylan entered the design office. Dylan unlocked the drawer. It was empty. Her face went white. No. She searched frantically. It was here. Bill looked furious. Who knew? Nobody. Wyatt inspected the drawer. It wasn't forced. Electra Wyatt inspected the drawer. It wasn't forced. Electra looked toward the hallway. Then someone had access. Katie whispered, What exactly was in that letter? Dylan stared at her. The name of the man my mother believed was responsible for hiding my birth records. Bill demanded, Who? Before Dylan could answer, a voice came from behind them. Looking for this? Everyone turned. Will stood in the doorway, holding an